Alrighty, guys, welcome to Chat with Brewer Live. My name is Seth. We're live from Wooden Legs Brewing Company. This is yet another installment where we get to chat with the brewer live and in our pub, actually. The second time that we get to chat live in our pub. We've got Rich here. How you doing, Rich?
Doing good, Seth. How are you?
So you're with Bank Brewing, and this is all a formality, though, because you are the closest brewery to Brookings outside of the city limits here. I know who you are, but we'll do that for everybody on the interwebs. Tell us where you're located.
Yeah, so Bank Brewing Company, we were founded in 2012 over there in Hendricks, Minnesota. We built an old creamery out into a brewery, which we opened in 2014. Hendricks, Minnesota is right on the border with South Dakota on the town of Lake Hendricks.
So for those of you that aren't familiar with South Dakota geography, I think that's only 30 miles from Brookings. Quick little commute over there. Let's talk more about Bank, but actually I'm interested in what's laying right in front of you, and I think this is what we're going to try first. We have a couple different selections here for us to try.
Yeah, go right along. We go from pretty much lightest and most approachable with the Hop Bandits, our session ale, dry hopped with featuring Simcoe, and then we did bring a variant to that with a new hop called Yarilo hops. And then we have Sour Bomb, which is our tart wheat ale, kind of a Berliner Weiss style. And then move up to the big boys, the 7% IPA with Citra. That's our Hop Lab. The Blue Label, and then we've got 10% Imperial Black IPA Into the Black.
So I'll leave it to you. You tell us which ones we want to try first, and I'll grab a bar knife here.
Let's start with the Hop Bandit here.
Bandit. All right. Tell us a little bit about Hop Bandit. This is a session one, right, or closer to the session style?
Yeah, so Hop Bandit, that's kind of my dream of what a pale ale would always be. Whenever I was homebrewing, I would always try all these different styles, and it always come back to wanting to have a nice hoppy pale ale in the fridge. Just for style's sake, doesn't really go down the middle of an American pale ale. It's more aromatic. It's heavily dry hopped with Simcoe, and more of a session ale, I guess, with coming in at 4.5%. So
4.5%. Now I have to notice your branding here. It looks like we've got a similar brand on all of these. These are relatively new marks, aren't they? This is within the year. You guys have kind of put all these out.
Yeah. So I got a good friend down in Sioux Falls named Derek Sokup. He's a great designer. He's our creative director. He designed all of our labels and did a really good job with making the brand pretty consistent. The Hop Bandit, he just made up a cartoon character that kind of looks like a bandit, and yeah, I really am happy how it turned out. So
I'm too busy pouring here. Excellent color. Now, do you filter your beers?
No filtering, no
pasteurization.
Okay.
So they're fresh in what you get, right?
Yep. We just we use a coal sheath, so it requires extra clarification in the tank. We just cold crash it down to 32 for at least a week, and then we'll send it over into the bright tank with Biofine to do an additional clarification step. And it sits in there for a couple days, comes out nice and clear usually. So.
Well, this has a fantastic taste for what you say it was only 4%.
Yeah, 4.5 on that one.
So you've managed to hide a large number of hops in a really well-rounded flavor in basically what would come in as one of the lightest IPAs in terms of alcohol content.
Yeah.
This one's served on tap as well, too, right?
Yeah, we do try to meet retail and on-sale demand with all of our products. We'll go ahead and handball off into these 750s for some of the bigger beers and just do a limited availability. So we do get into the liquor stores and grocery stores like Hy-Vee's, stuff like that. Try and get down to Sioux Falls, Brookings, around in the area. But then we do try to focus on kegs mostly because that's much easier on the production schedule to just fill one keg than it is to do equivalent of 15 cases. We do them one at a time with our hand bottler. So a case of beer probably takes about 10 minutes just to do one case.
So your beers really are bottled with love then.
Yeah. It's a truly handcrafted product. We're touching it every step of the process.
And I know Minnesota has a lot of your beers as well in addition to the South Dakota here. And you guys get as far north as Aberdeen too, or is there other places? How far into South Dakota have you guys distributed?
Yeah, so South Dakota you can find us in Aberdeen, Watertown, Huron. I know that we're down all the way down to North Sioux City at Miller Liquors, and then we've got the Vermilion Municipal. We also have several locations in Sioux Falls, like you said, and then Brookings just added another location. We can do the liquor store as well as Hy-Vee. So then do we get Watertown in there as well? So I-29 is where it's at.
Awesome. Let's try another one. I like that one. You said we're going to advance a little in
So
complexity as we keep drinking here tonight.
Yeah, we can go ahead and open up this growler. I just did a special one-off batch to learn about this Yarlow hop. It's supposed to be kind of a lemony, grassy, citrusy new hop variety, and I wanted to test it out and see if I wanted to give it a little bit further run. So what I did is I took 3 ounces and put it right into a 5-gallon Sankey keg, and then just packaged off a couple growlers of it, and here it is. So see what we think.
So this is truly a first run beer.
Yeah.
So this is as experimental, there you go, Dale, experimental as you get. I think the question was, what was the base on the beer? What's the base?
Yeah, so this is Hop Bandit. Basically the same batch of what we were just drinking, and I just took 5 gallons of it, like I said, and put some Yarlow hops right in the keg. So.
All right, we'll try this one, and Ange, I'll let you pour some of these too if you'd like.
I was getting a lot of lemon and pronounced grassiness whenever I was tasting through it. Maybe some melon hiding in there as well.
So where did you get your hands on Yarlow hops?
Yeah, so we do try to work with a couple of different suppliers. We get most of our hops from Hop Union, but there was a new one called 47 Hops that I had heard from. Take 16, they get a lot of their hops from 47 Hops as the contractor, and so I contacted Sylvia, and she sent me a laundry list of different hops, and several of them on there I've never heard of, and so she offered up some samples, and here they are. So we're playing with them.
So this one I get a definite green grass type of flavor, almost like the smell, but maybe the flavor most reminds me kind of a wet grass, very fresh. Now these were pelletized when you used them, or these were okay? They were so.
Yeah, she sent us 2 bags of each with 4 ounces. Calculated out my dry hopping schedule on the Hop Bandit regularly, and it comes down to about 3 ounces per 5 gallons. So I just went ahead. It's already dry hopped with Simcoe, so this is basically a double dry hopped version of Hop Bandit with the addition of Yarlow. So
this is very good. I think that's the first experience I've had with that hop. That's actually really, really fresh, and it's fun as you get into these IPAs. You get to experiment with some of those different flavor profiles. I think the other thing that's really cool is if you keep your base like Hop Bandit, where it's light enough that it kind of gets out of the way of the hops. I mean, it's still a very good base, but you at least get to really kind of taste through what the hop is and not jump into the complexities that some of the darker IPAs or double IPAs give you. So I like that. I'll be interested to see what that comes out. Now tell us more about your hop series. Now I know you have a series of beers that you make and are doing experimental hops or labs. Hop lab is the thing?
So I guess I would definitely call myself pronounced hop head, and I really like to play with hops and feature hops, not try to make sure the malt stays out just in the background as a balancing component, but definitely feature on the hops. Like you said with Hop Bandit, there's a malt component there, but really let the hops shine. That's what I did with the IPA as well. Stick with the West Coast style. It's basically all two-row with a slight addition of caramel just to add a touch of sweetness to balance the upwards of 80-90 IBUs on the IPA. Hop Lab, the first one was featuring Citra, Simcoe, and Amarillo, and we used the green label on that one. And so then the next one we're doing is all Citra, and that's our blue label. So we're going to keep evolving and getting through all the different hops that we got.
So that's probably a pretty good segue. That's what's in the next growler, right? It's the blue label?
Yeah.
Now this was all Citra, you said? Is that all Citra hops on this?
Yeah, so like kind of similar to what I do with a lot of the hoppy beers is I just do a large whirlpool addition, let it rest hot, and do a nice steep and maintain all the flavor and aroma that I can get out of that boil addition. And then I will do a double dry hopping process where I'll put in half the dry hops for 4 to 5 days, and then the rest in for another 4 to 5 days, cold crash it, and then send it to the carbonating tank. So this one I went ahead and just threw in about a pound per barrel of Citra in the whirlpool, and then another pound per barrel on the first dry hop, and then chuck another 15 pounds in for a second time. So
now this looks gorgeous. This looks like a beer should look. I don't know if the webcams are going to do them justice there, but we'll try it. So those of you at home can get out ultra thirsty. Perfect head on that. Oh, great! That is Citra.
Yeah.
Classic. It's not quite smell-o-vision on YouTube here, but Maybe we should send a packet of hops home for people. We'll do like a mail system, and you can just rub the Citra hops together and just smell it during the episode.
That would be perfect.
That's exactly
150 varieties at a time. Send out their samples and really get an idea of what all those hops do for you.
That's really good. That has
Don't be surprised, Seth.
No, it's not surprised at all. No, I'm getting caught by almost. There's a hint of like a savory flavor in there. Like it's something not like a salt, but almost has that savory quality to it. And that's why I'm surprised. I can't put my finger on it. It's good. It's enjoyable. That's an experience I've not had in a hot beer like that before.
Yeah, I guess whenever I think of IPA and something that what I'd like to do with a lot of the beers is try and do something that we can't get around here. And I know that no one was doing an all Citra IPA around here, and I wanted to bring that amazing Citra hop flavor to this area and keep it fresh. This is a beer that's only going to last maybe 60 days, and so if I can brew it fresh in Hendricks, get it down to Sioux Falls and get it out to South Dakota within a week of packaging it and then get it drank through in 3-4 weeks, that beer is going to be the full impact experience of what that Citra hop can do and give everyone a taste of the amazing Citra hops. I mean, everyone says in the industry that using Citra is like cheating because it's so good.
It's like bacon.
Yeah, it's like using bacon. It's like, why wouldn't you want to put that in your beer? And so
I have nothing wrong with bacon. I don't wholly think it's bacon.
Exactly. So yeah, I wanted to make one. Wanted to have one available that's fresh. You can get them from other places, but it's never going to be as fresh as making it locally. So
I think that's probably a good point for those people looking to come to Hendricks and find you. Tell us more about the tap room. Tell us about the hours you're open. I know it's just an hour drive from Sioux Falls, maybe not even. Right, maybe an hour and some change.
Depends on how fast you drive.
Right.
I usually just go by miles, but I mean it takes like 30 miles from Brookings to do it in 30 minutes most of the time. Tap room is a nice little tap room. It's a renovated bank building, actually. It was built in July of 1900, so 115 years old now. It was renovated in 2009 originally as a hunting lodge. Our owner, Jason Markula, had a passion for coming to this area and doing pheasant hunting and deer hunting and fishing, and he built it out as a hunting lodge. So then in 2012, the creamery on the other side of the block came up for sale. It had sat empty for quite some time, and they were going to either tear it down or they needed someone to renovate it. Jason went ahead and applied for some grants, got close to $100,000 to remove the asbestos, big old 14,000-pound steam boiler in there. It was just full of tires. You could see to the ceiling. So anyways, took 2 years to renovate that building. That's on the other side of the block, and that's where we do the brewing. But yeah, to get back to the tap room, that's open Friday and Saturday from 4 to 8. Usually doesn't get closed at 8, probably closer to midnight most nights. But we just put 4 to 8, and then if you show up, we'll be open. So
4 to late.
4 to late, yeah.
4 to late. So tell me more. I know you mentioned Jason. For our viewers online, for those that don't understand Bank Brewing, maybe give them an introduction to Jason and kind of how Bank came about.
Yeah, so Jason Markler is the owner. He saw these amazing buildings that were right there in downtown Hendricks. It's a great little town, a little lake town. Lot to offer during the summer. Nice little golf course. Great hunting, obviously. He's got some land there to do pheasant hunting and deer hunting. And then, so what he did is he found an opportunity to turn a great old building and restore it. His roots are in construction. He's always been in the construction businesses. And so he had a renovation ability, and so he went ahead and renovated that bank building and started a company called Beer for Wildlife, which created some beers that went really well with his hobbies of hunting and fishing, and then ran that course for a while over at Brow, did some contract brewing, decided that, hey, I really like the beer business. There's another great building here in Hendricks. Let's renovate that. Let's go down a new path. Let's bring local beer to this area, more local beer to Southwest Minnesota and the South Dakota area, and so we're able to renovate this great old building, create a new brewery, and we're cranking out shooting at 300 barrels this year. So
300 barrels is this is the first full year then, right? When's the anniversary of
the anniversary brew will be anytime after June 21st, 2015. So it's just almost 9 months now. Wow.
There you go. So Beer for Wildlife, I'll give a shout out to that. That's a cool program. If people have seen it probably in liquor stores and around, I think the brands are Rooster Lager, and there's a couple other. And I know Jason kind of tied that in with his passion for outdoor hunting, and I think there's part of the proceeds or something from those beers that went to some nonprofits, right? Or that had done some type of conservation.
Yeah, so any of the activities that were done with those beers were usually centered around activist groups in those areas. With the Rooster Lager, Walleye Chop, they all went to build a wildlife foundation, and so what they did is go out and buy land to preserve. He spent a whole weekend this past summer mowing that preserved land. He kind of overlooked the fact that you not only can just buy it and let it turn into habitat, you're supposed to upkeep it and make sure it doesn't get overgrown. So that was interesting.
Well, that's actually cool. I've actually had a chance to talk to Jason about it. Really cool dude, and his beard's coming in nicely. So I wish we had a picture of Jason. We'll put one up later. It's coming in real good. We've got two more bombers here to try through, and I think we've caught up on the glassware. We've got Sour Bomb, and then Into the Black. So which one do we want to try first here, Rich?
Yeah, we should probably do Sour Bomb next, light to dark again on that one. Sour Bomb, it's another one of those beers that I couldn't get around here, and I really wanted to brew something that was a real drinkable sour beer. Berliner Weiss is a pretty rare beer in the sense that, I don't know if you can go to the liquor store in town and find one that's regularly available, and definitely not something that's going to be available on tap regularly in the area. And so my idea was to bring a nice sessionable tart sour beer to the area, something that I want to drink. Hopefully some other people would enjoy it too, and it's been going over well. I know you guys had a keg on tap. People enjoy it.
We had it on tap until it disappeared, and I think I think there was a number of people that really enjoyed it while it's here. And we'll pass these down. Now, extremely clear colored. Everybody get one here again? Extremely clear color. Oh, and I didn't even pour myself one. That's all right. There's stuff left in the bomber. Watch this. It's like a magic bomber. There's still beer there. So the base of this, help me understand the base of this. Help me understand the process a little, because I know that's actually pretty unique and innovative for how you get this to sour out.
Yeah, so this one, it's 50% Pilsner and 50% white wheat malt. What I do is actually do a traditional mash and get into the boil kettle with regular sweet wort getting ready to boil. I bring it up to a pasteurization temperature to make sure to get a completely clean slate. What I do is instead of boiling it and setting it to the fermenter, we need to introduce the sourness. And so at that point I'll cool it down to 120, and actually instead of oxygenating the beer like you traditionally would oxygenate your wort and then send it to the fermenter, I carbonate it. So I send carbonation with CO2 in through the oxygenation stone, and actually it scrubs a lot of the O2 out. And what I'm doing is creating an aerobic environment so that only lactic acid forming bacteria will like to grow in there. You've created a perfect hotbed for infection, basically, with a nice sweet wort. We're going to hold it at 120 degrees, and we're just going to let it sour over the course of 3 days. What I do is I just put the lacto in a completely aerobic environment, and I'll hold it at 120 degrees for 3 days. At the start of that process, it'll be around 5.2 pH, like a normal wort. Come back, and it will be down around 3.5 pH, which lower pH means higher acid, means sour taste. So that's what we have.
I'm getting actually a couple of questions on the Twitter sphere. They actually, I have a viewer that said this is actually one of their favorite sours. So there you go. So there they go. And if you guys haven't tried this, it's not overly sour. It's not something that would make you feel like you're eating the rind of a lemon or something. But it has that very I'd say it's a clean tartness to it. Just a real good, refreshing sour. I'd imagine the lake at Hendricks would get pretty busy, and there'd be people drinking Sour Bomb as it goes.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how much the local people have really grasped onto a sour beer. I never thought that someone that didn't understand, I assume most of these people have never had any sour beer before. They have this one, and they really enjoy mixing it with some of the local sodas that we have from New Ulm. We've got the strawberry, the orange, and the grape sodas, and they'll do mixing in the glass. And for
the people that don't know, that's pretty classic to Berliner
which
Weisses,
actually,
right?
unbeknownst to them, they were doing a classic activity of mixing in a flavoring agent with a blank slate of nice tart sour beer.
So there you go, right here in the middle of America, you can get a high quality sour beer. Now I think we've got one more, and I know this one when it was released came to a bit of fanfare, and you had a whole day of festivities, right? Is that it? And maybe for our viewers, let them know what this is and kind of about darkness or the Into the Black day, right? Or
yeah, darkness is taken already.
Right.
But yeah, so Into the Black. This is our Imperial Black IPA. I brew this with Citra and Amarillo. Do an obscene amount of dry hopping on that one, like usual. Go ahead and add an addition of Belgian dark candy sugar as well to dry it out in a traditional IPA sense. The Into the Black Day is always the second Saturday of the new year, and what we do on that day is release bottles of this beer. We'll have an event pass where people can come in. It's $50 and you can get 2 bottles of the beer and all you care to drink. Enjoy the festivities. We have a band during that day, and then and hang out in the brewery.
I can't think of a better reason to hang out in January drinking beer.
Yeah,
like that. That sounds awesome. Now you alluded to it. I think you guys also have a membership, a bank club, or help me out here.
Sure. So we just launched a new program to help develop our new special release beers and barrel aged beers. We do have a couple barrels, but we'd like to get more, and so we did a bit of a fundraising program with the Vault Club. The Vault Club is $200, and what it gets you is actually entry into our Into the Black Day. It's also entry into our Labor Day Bash. We have 2 parties a year. One's in the cold of the winter, and one's out in the street during the summer over Labor Day. So to get you entry into those events, as well as we're going to do 4 releases of large bottle format. We got a barrel-aged version of Into the Black. We put some sour bomb into a barrel. We're probably going to do some fruit additions on that and have that ready. And then we're just going to keep experimenting and making new things. There's going to be 4 releases included with that, so you get 12 bottles of beer, an entry to 2 different events, as well as taproom discounts. Oh man.
We'll see if we heard that online. We'll check the footage later to see who brought. No, I don't think I did that. I think that was Angela. We'll have to check the footage
just to
online.
Finish out the benefits of the program. There's also $3 off every growler fill that you did if when you come into the tap room, as well as $1 off every pint. So the benefits keep coming, and it's $200, but I think it's worth it.
And that can be purchased straight online, right?
Online in the tap room. Yep. There's about 43 of them left is all right now. So
let's take a look at this one. It is dark as the night, so I mean probably as advertised.
Black, yep.
Into the Black. Now, do you prefer Cascadian Dark Ale, Black IPA? What's your preferred language for this beer?
Yeah, I think that there's a definite difference between Cascadian Dark and Black IPA. Black IPA is something that is an IPA that if you were to smell it, you would just think IPA, and it happens to be black. Cascadian Dark Ale, I think there's an additional component of dark, chocolatey, more dark crystal malts that come in there, and you are going to get some roastiness along with the hops in the nose. This one is kind of treading new waters. You're all the way up into the Imperial area, where we're going to be bringing in a ton of different malts in there. Call it Imperial Black IPA just for the sense of people can easily grasp that, I guess.
I think this one's fantastic. You can get some of the dark malts. I mean, you can smell some of that, but that certainly the hops don't get lost.
Yeah. So the idea with this one was to continue with the trend of really tropical, fruity hops, but then back it up with pronounced maltiness. But the maltiness that is there is full of raisins and caramel. Not as much roast, because it's not an imperial stout. It's supposed to be lighter, more of an IPA-like beer. But
I like that it has the complexities of a dark beer without feeling heavy, overly complicated. You still get a lot of really good flavors. You get a lot of really good nuance out of the hops. But there's a lot of backbone there. So congratulations, that is a very good beer. Let's hear more about you, though. I think we've got time for a couple more questions. Sure. But how'd you get into craft beer here, Rich? I mean, how did you become the brew guy and over in Hendricks, Minnesota?
Well, you were you were definitely an influence on me. You guys got started before me. You were living the dream, starting a brewery. I was always envious of doing something of my own, getting started in the brewing industry. Starting in 2010, I did my first batch of homebrew. First one turned out all right. It was a nice wheat ale. A couple more after that, I started throwing obscene amounts of hops in there. Turns out you can use too many hops.
No, you have to be the first hophead that I've had on that have actually admitted that. So at what level are there too much hops in a beer? And I'm asking you because you're a self-admitted hophead.
Yeah, so when it comes down to my brewing history and how I learned how to brew, it was on YouTube, and I would follow all these homebrew guys and learn a lot of the techniques basically just online. And there was this one time where I had created a relationship with a guy, and he was out of Colorado, and he's like, "Oh, I got some special hops I'll send you." I'm like, "Oh, I got some hops growing in my backyard. You want some of those?" And so then he sends me Citra. I send him backyard hops. I think that he got the brunt end of the stick on that one, but I decided to throw all of those Citra into the fermenter. It was 8 ounces in a 5-gallon batch, and I thought the longer they sit in there, the better, right? Turns out, no, 3 to 4 days is probably enough. A month with 8 ounces of Citra and one 5-gallon batch it's overdone, and it was.
So what it tastes like when it was overdone?
It tasted like nail polish remover, really. Like, it was so much bitterness that it was unbearable. They say that bitterness fades with time. That beer has sat in my cellar for 3 years now, and it's still undrinkable.
That's still You know what? Sometimes you define yourself by your mistakes, not necessarily your victories here. We got a couple minutes left. Tell us about social media. How can we find Bank online? How do we follow Bank? How do we know what's going on with Bank Brewing?
Yeah, so we're on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, just Bank Brewer. Try to keep up with everything that's going on in the brew house. Just do a shout out while we're up there bottling or brewing. We've got Bank Brewing Company, or Bank Brewing Co., I believe is the Twitter. We just got to 1,000 likes on Facebook. Super excited about that. We do all the different angles, I guess. The Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram. We got a website too. Local guy built a nice little website for us. This Bank Beer Company or Bank Brewing Company. I actually got 2 domain names. So.
Wait, legit, you have to have 2 domain names.
That's what I heard.
We're going to wrap it up here. I appreciate the beers. I appreciate the time here, Rich, and I appreciate you coming down here. But you tried to travel, just so you know, you had to travel the least furthest from anybody yet. But the last thing I always ask people is, if people are trying to get into this industry, if they're looking to branch out into the craft beer world, what words of advice would you give them as they set upon this journey?
Words of advice. I'd say just keep reading, keep learning, keep looking for podcasts and videos. I'm nonstop on the internet looking at videos, listening to podcasts, just staying connected with the culture and the industry, seeing what people are doing, grasping onto things that I like. Build your identity as a brewer. Try to figure out what you want to do and what you really like, and then chase it. When it comes down to actually learning the craft, it's just go get involved with your local community. Like whenever you were starting, I'd come down here, and every chance I would get, I would want to help. Just go and help out the brewers that are already there. They will in turn teach you things that you won't even believe it. You're in here digging trenches, and before you know it, we're talking about draft systems. I'm getting a full rundown on how to operate a draft system, and it's just those experiences that's really what you get the most out of, is just being in the breweries with the people who are already doing it. It's where you learn the best.
So there you go, guys. Immerse yourself in the experience. We are very happy to have you, Rich. Very happy that you brought your beers. We could probably sit here and I could probably talk for another 2 hours. And you know what? We probably will, because we've got beers to drink. But that's all the time we have on the YouTube channel. Always stay tuned, guys. Make sure to look these guys up on their website, on their social media. Second Saturday, the New Year's, is the day you have to get to Hendricks. And you have to get to Hendricks a lot, but make sure you don't miss that day. Look for them on the liquor store shelves and on tap here down at Wooden Legs and other places. Rich, cheers to you. Thank you very much for coming out, and good work. And we'll you know what? We'll do a follow-up. We'll talk again in a year and try some more of the good beers.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll definitely have something new and different for you next time. So.
Perfect.